So, folks, there's been an update in the case with the blind man who got arrested. The sheriff gave a press conference, and we'll go ahead and listen and see what he has to say, and then come back and not too afterward.
Good afternoon, Sheriff Mark Hunter. I'm here today to update you and provide some information that will hopefully answer questions many of you have regarding this situation. On October 31st, shortly after 8 a.m., two of our deputies encountered Mr. James Hodges walking near the intersection of Marion Avenue and East Duval Street. The interaction resulted in the arrest of Mr. Hodges. Body cam footage that was provided to Mr. Hodges of this incident has recently been circulated across many outlets and has resulted in our office receiving a number of calls from concerned citizens. I want to begin with a timeline of the initial events. Mr. Hodges was arrested on October the 31st at 8 a.m. The arresting deputy was Jamie Godey and her supervisor, Sergeant Randy Harrison. On November the 3rd, Mr. Hodges requested body cam footage of the incident. He was provided the footage the same day. During the review process, prior to it being released, a likely policy violation was discovered. Since the incident involved a patrol sergeant, the patrol lieutenant and captain were made aware of the incident. The patrol lieutenant and captain were directed to investigate the incident further and began that day, November the 3rd. Mr. Hodges had not yet filed a formal complaint when the patrol commanders were instructed to investigate this matter. Arrangements were made that day for Mr. Hodges to complete a sworn statement at a later date upon his availability. The administrative investigation concluded the afternoon of 11/7, and allegations of policy violations against these two deputies were sustained. As a result of these findings, Sergeant Harrison will be demoted immediately, suspended without pay for 7 days, and will not be eligible for any favorable action for 2 years. Deputy Godey will be suspended without pay for 2 days. Both deputies will be required to undergo remedial training pertaining to civil rights. As sheriff, I take full responsibility for this event and want to extend my sincere apologies to Mr. Hodges for the actions of my deputies. I do not feel these deputies' actions were guided by ill intent, but rather by frustration and failure to rely on their training. Nevertheless, this conduct is unacceptable. We will continue to work hard and train to ensure these incidents do not reoccur. I do want you to know that I'm deeply saddened of the negative impact that this has on our agency and this situation has caused to us. I want to reassure you that as your sheriff, we do make mistakes, but we take corrective action to fix them. This is how we get better. I want to applaud Mr. Hodges for actually reporting that and requesting the video. That's how we learn. I can promise you that, we're going to work hard to try to get 100%, but we'll never be 100%. No one is. I have no doubt that the remaining employees up here at this sheriff's office, they work their hearts out and want to do you a good job and want to have your trust and respect, as I do. And as your sheriff, I'm going to keep on pushing and trying to make us better every day. And I want you to know we do not take your trust and your respect for granted. We earn it every day. And thank you.
All right, folks. So you saw his statement. And, obviously something's being done, which is a good sign, but at the same time, I don't think enough is being done. These two conspired to deny this man his liberty, to take away his freedom. And the aggressing officer gets a 2-day suspension, and Mr. Go ahead and lock him up, Sergeant, Ding Dong, he got a 7-day suspension and a demotion, which That's going to hurt. It's going to hurt his pay. His pay. It's going to hurt his bottom line and all that. But you know what? It's not the same kind of hurt that it would be that. Let's just imagine if these two weren't police officers. Just say they were security guards. Security guards don't have the cover of qualified immunity. They don't have the protection of the state and all that. So let's just say it was a couple of security guards that stopped him and detained him and did this to him. Those security guards would be going to jail and would be charged with multiple felonies. With a lot of things. Most notably kidnapping, denial of liberties, assault, battery, for doing stuff like that. These things, when you step out of your authority as a police officer, I believe you should be treated as anybody else. The fact that we get these people multiple times, we get them all the time on camera committing crimes that anybody else, for anybody else it'd be a crime, and nobody's above the law. Nobody's supposed to be, the law's supposed to be even for everybody. Justice is supposed to be blind, and yet there's another example where justice is not blind. These people are protected, and they even get to keep their jobs. Okay, they had to write a letter, they had to put something in their file, and, whatever. But as long as they don't screw up in a public way, going forward, this will all be swept under the rug, and it won't affect their careers. But it affects this man's life. I've sat in jail before, and it's no fun. This man sat in jail for 26 hours, so he was probably put in the general population. Probably wasn't put into, probably wasn't held in the holding tank the whole time. So he was forced to go strip naked in front of somebody, be deloused, wear, a jail-issued jumpsuit and flip-flops and whatnot, and go sit in the general population with real criminals because, they didn't like him. That's a traumatic experience. I don't care who it is. It's not a fun experience, and it's not a place that you want to be. And for this man to sit there and act like, oh, well, I don't think they had any ill intent or whatever the hell it was he said, that, it wasn't malicious. I mean, like, it was malicious. And, like I said, once that man had dispelled their suspicions, their job at that point was to say, okay, you're free to go. Sorry for the inconvenience. That's it. But they chose not to do that. They chose to escalate it and turn it into something that it didn't need to be and harm him. It is a harm. And now he's going to sue the sheriff's department, sue the county or city, whatever it is. And, he's going to win. But, and the taxpayers are going to have to foot that bill. These cops are not going to ever, pay a dime out of their own pockets. They're not really getting any kind of real punishment. A week off from work is tough, but, you'll get through it. And it does not equal the kind of repercussions it would be if you and I had done something like that to somebody. And this is this guy's talking about how hard they work and integrity and all. They have no integrity. And this is just par for the course across the board with police. They're always sweeping things under the rug. So we investigated ourselves and found that we didn't do anything wrong, or some kind of slap on the wrist type of thing. I mean, you can flat out kill somebody unjustifiably and still keep your job, still be on the streets, and nothing will happen to you unless the story makes a big enough splash in the news. So there's a very lopsided system of accountability for government officials, especially police officers, that needs to stop. And this doesn't make me feel any better. It's just like, basically he's throwing them under the bus to try to save some face and whatnot, but I don't think it's enough, and I don't think anybody would think it's enough if they were in that position. Put yourself in that position to be accosted and handcuffed and kidnapped by a couple of assholes, that are power tripping on their own authority and whatnot, and see how you feel about it. I just, this is bullshit to me, and this guy's a jackass. He needs to be voted out of office. If you live in that county, vote him out of office, and vote somebody into office who doesn't have any law enforcement experience, because people with law enforcement experience are tainted. They're corrupt. Their minds are warped. It's a us against them mentality that that doesn't need to be in our government. So that's my 2 cents. Whether you like it or not, that's how I feel. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.